Okay, let's do this. And thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time and your attention. And I'm excited about bringing you some great techniques to be able to help you to improve your focus. Improve your focus. What is this thing called focus? And why are you putting your focus on this webinar class that we're about to do right now? In this, I'm going to tell you how to have better focus, how to have greater concentration without pills, without potions, even if you missed your morning coffee, and even if you don't have the willpower. And that's really the message here. If you walk away with anything, I want to put your focus on this thing called focus and let you know that this is not something you have, this is something that you do. Because you don't have focus, much like you don't have creativity. People think they have creativity or that they have memory or they have something like that. But really what we're talking about, you're not having it, you're doing it. You're going to do creativity, you're going to do memories, you're going to make memories, and you're going to do focus. And that's what we do here at Quick Learning. We teach people really accelerated techniques to be able to step by step on how to learn a language, how to remember people's names, how to read faster, step by step by step. And so in this web class, we're going to talk about how to have this thing called focus. And if there's one thing that I think people need in this digital age of distraction, right, that we're going to talk about in this session, I'm going to teach you, and my promise to you is you're going to walk away with 3 powerful tools to be able to harness your power of concentration. Because if you don't have focus, what does that look like? When you don't have focus, or you think of somebody who doesn't have focus, how productive are they, right? How successful are they? How behind are they, right? And so when your mind goes everywhere, right? Let's say you have this monkey mind, or if you say you have entrepreneurial ADD, and you look at the next shiny object, and so on, you can't get anything done. And so if you're here with me, I applaud you, because you're what we call the few who do, versus the many who just talk and complain about things. You're actually showing up. So I appreciate your ability to show up. So I'm gonna jump right into this. Now, we're gonna talk about the power of focus, and I'm gonna treat this as a class, right? As if you and I are sitting together in a room together, and this is gonna be a workshop, all right? We're gonna go, and I'm going to talk about the problems of why people aren't able to focus, why you read a page in a book. Have you ever done this? You read a page in a book, you get to the bottom, and then you just forget what you just read because your mind is not focusing, right? Your mind is distracted, it's wandering, as they say. Or you're meeting somebody for the first time, and as soon as the handshake breaks, the name just disappears, and like, where was your focus, right? Maybe the focus was thinking about other people in the room or thinking about how you're going to respond. So when you can harness this thing called focus, what happens is you have a lot of power, and that's really what I want to tell you. Like, people ask me, say, Jim, what's the secret? What's the secret of success, or these achievers? What do they all have in common? And I can tell you, yes, part of it's motivation, part of it is their creativity, part of it is their ability to think and do all these things. But really what they have also is they have this tremendous focus, and you can have too. It's not elusive. So we're going to break it down. And the way I look at it is this, is if there's light coming in, right? Like if you're outside and it's a nice sunny day, and you, as a kid, did you have like this thing, like this magnifying glass? And what happens when you put a magnifying glass outside? Maybe you used to burn leaves, and it takes the light that comes in, this power, and it creates this what they call this point, right? And that point, if you describe this point, how would you describe it? It's very sharp. It's is it dull? No, it's extremely bright, right? This is very bright. And isn't it interesting that you use the word bright when you're explaining, we're talking about somebody, or if you say somebody is bright or that person is really bright, what are you saying about that person? You're like, that person's really smart, right? They're very clever. They're on the ball, right? And so maybe it's not because they're smarter. Maybe it's because they're just better focused. You see that all this energy is here, that you have this energy, right? Your physiology, your emotions, your mental energy. But what if you direct it into one point? It becomes extremely sharp and bright, and sharp and bright is what we use to describe really smart people. But maybe they're not super smart, maybe they're just better focused. And that's what we're gonna get you. Because you could have like, a low watt bulb, but you might not even see with all the ambient light if it was on. But if you focus it, it could become a laser that could burn a hole through a cardboard piece of paper or a cardboard box, right? Because that's the power of focus. So I want you to have that focus. And now why do you want that focus? Is so you can get things done, right? So you can be more successful, so you don't have to fall behind. If you are behind, you're trying to multitask, and you're trying to do many things at once, and you're not focusing on the most important things, then you're in trouble, right? And then how do you have balance nowadays, right? We live in this age that's so fast. So how do you have focus on your relationships? How do you still focus on taking care of your body? How do you focus on taking care of your mind and your career and all the things that you hold most dear? So that's the power of focus. So what I want you to do is let's put your questions down below and share this class with others, right? So that way you have a focus buddy, what I call. Because not only will it increase your empowerment and your education, but it'll also increase your enjoyment, because I'm going to give you a number of exercises, and it helps if you have somebody to hold you accountable for that. And just some ground rules before I teach you these 3 things that you could do that will dramatically improve your focus, whether you believe it or not. As long as you practice it, it will make a difference for you. And this is probably the biggest leverage, because focus is an incredible, what they call force multiplier. What's a force multiplier? It's a term used in the military where basically it's how do you put the same amount of input but get more output, get multiple benefits from it. And focus, when you can harness your focus, because here's the thing with focus. Focus metaphorically is a muscle. It's a muscle, and it grows stronger with use. I don't believe when people say that they don't focus that they can't harness their focus more. No matter where you are, no matter what you've been diagnosed with, all right? I'm saying that everybody has a genetic propensity towards something, right? But 1/3 of your intelligence, 1/3 of your learning, 1/3 of your memory is actually is genetic and biological. But 2/3 is completely in your control. And so that's the important part. So no matter where you are in the spectrum, right? It doesn't matter your age, your background, your career, or any of that, your level of education. If you take somebody and put them into a gym and put them on a good nutritional program, they can make progress, right? They might not everyone's equal, because everybody comes in with different strengths, right, and different traits, but everyone can make a little bit of progress. And I'm telling you, a little bit of progress in this area will make a huge difference. You might not see it, but even a little bit progress, like let's say you're here, right? And it's making a little bit of progress. It doesn't seem like maybe you're going this way instead of this way. It doesn't seem like a little bit, it only seems like a little bit here, but over time, goodness, that's a big difference. That's a huge difference in destination, right? Or your destiny, if you will. And so we're looking to make small little shifts in your focus, maybe 10% here, 10% here, 10% here, and all of a sudden you have a huge lift, over time. I believe that people grossly underestimate, well, let's say this. I think people mostly overestimate what they can do in one day, because they have a checklist of 200 things, and how do you focusing on to-do lists of 200 different things if that's you, right? But they grossly underestimate what they could do over the course of, like, let's say 3 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and a huge difference in terms of where you were going to end up and where you can end up just making these small little shifts. So let's get into this, right? Focus is a muscle, and I believe there's no such thing as good or bad focus. There's just trained focus and untrained focus. There's only trained focus and untrained focus. And what I mean by that specifically is that focus is a muscle. That's one of the reasons why people meditate, right? They do mindfulness practice, because every single time, how many of you, how many of you actually meditate, right? Do you meditate? And so that's a very powerful practice, because sometimes it helps to slow down to be able to speed up. Sometimes meditation and mindfulness training will help you Control-Alt-Delete. For some of you millennials don't know what that is. That's where you kind of do like a little reset. And then what happens is you have clarity. It's kind of like with focus, you might think you're like it's even with your laptops. Let's say you have a lot of browsers open, a lot of websites open, but you minimize it, so you can't see it. Part of you feels like, oh wow, it's clarity. I feel like I have a little bit more clear mind, and certainly your external world is a reflection of your internal world. Because you're minimizing it, you're not closing or force quitting of it. It's still using up energy, right? It's still using up memory. It's using up RAM. So your focus unconsciously are still on those things. So here's what we're going to do here. Let's also look at some of the questions. Make sure here. Perfect. So what we're going to do here is this. I'm going to go through my model of what I think focus can be for you. And this is the thing. I want you to stay to the end, because at the end, I'm going to invite you to join me live. And we're going to do like a big, not a focus group, like as in marketing, for example, but we're going to talk about how to train your focus specifically and do it in live real time, which would be extraordinary. So what you're about to learn, this is my 25th year of teaching speed reading and memory enhancement and focus training, thinking, advanced thinking. We have 3 primary programs with our company. And and because people have asked about this, we have a speed reading program that teaches people how to focus and read 300% faster. We have a program on accelerating your memory, specifically on how to improve your memory by improving your focus. And then we have a third program on quick thinking, which is how to make good solve problems, how to make good decisions, how to be more creative, how to be a faster thinker. But it requires focus, right? But I've been doing this now for 25 years, and my message to you, even in this lesson, and if you choose to join us in ongoing program and be part of our, what I call our quick learning community, our quick learners, where you have lifetime access to us and these programs, is this, that you don't have to spend 25 years of your life like I did, traveling the world, reading every single book on this subject, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to do this, because I did it for you, right? Because one of the fastest way to accelerate your learning and accelerate your life in terms of your life's achievements is learning from other people, because I believe genius leaves clues, and I believe talent can be trained, that the talents that you want most in life, they can be trained and can be learned through accelerated learning, a process we call quick learning. So stay to the end and make sure you get that invitation to be able to join us for this. Now, I'm going to go through really fast 3 villains to your focus. These are modern villains that haven't always been here. They've popped up. I always talk about superpowers, and your superpower is your focus. Your superpower is your learning. Your superpower is your ability to read faster. Your superpower is to be able to remember things, right? And so we're going to focus on the superpower of focus and concentration, but they're villains that you need to be able to utilize that, because it's like the kryptonite in the world of modern day society. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. The first one, and these are the villains that I'm just going to write down here, and you know these. The first one is this thing called digital distraction. Digital distraction, digital, because here's the thing. How many of you feel like you're losing your focus and you can't concentrate, that you're literally rewired to be distracted all the time? And so that's a big challenge for a lot of people. And so let me see here. So here's what we're going to do here. Digital distraction is that it's finding their way everywhere, right? We're carrying a digital distraction right in our pocket. It's on our desk. It's on our emails. Think about the app notifications, the social media alerts, the emails, texts, instant messengers, chat apps, calendar reminders, phone calls. There's so much challenges and here's the biggest thing. Here's what you want to do. What's rewiring our brain are smart devices, right? The average person is opening up Instagram 54 times, I read recently, 54 times a day. And if you're not opening it up, if you're opening it less than that, that means somebody's opening it up more. So how distracted are we at the things that really are most important in our life? And so what we're going to do here is, if you are rewiring your brain for digital distraction, because what happens is, every time you look on your phone and you get a like and you get a comment and you get a share, you get this dopamine rush, this stimulus, right? And it becomes addictive. In fact, Instagram actually was one of the co-founders learned that through one of the top habit experts in the world, BJ Fogg at Stanford University research. And that's how you make things addictive, right? They want you picking it up and going through it. But the problem is if you're always grabbing your phone, even when you don't have to because it's not important, then what you're doing is you're giving up your sovereignty, you're giving up your power, you're giving up your freedom to do the things that are most important to you, because we're programmed to do that. So one of the things that we want to be able to do, there's two takeaways here. Number one, you want to stop touching your phone first thing in the morning. And I know this is going to be difficult, but I promise you, when we're talking about elite mental performers, some of the biggest achievers out there in technology and entertainment and such, once I have them stop touching their phone first thing in the morning, the first hour of the day, everything changes. Because here's the reason why you want to stop. And even if you hear what I'm saying and you're like, Jim, I've heard you say this before, but you're still touching your phone in the morning, you're grabbing for it, I feel like you don't know it unless you're doing it and really tested it for yourself. But here's been my experience with working, and keep in mind, we have students in over 150 countries around the world with our online program. So we get a lot of feedback in terms of what works and what flies and what dies. And so the reason why is when you wake up first thing in the morning, you're in what they call an alpha or a theta state. It's a brainwave state that's basically a relaxed state of awareness. You're incredibly suggestible. And so if the first thing that you do in the morning is grab your phone, then what's happening is you're training your brain, you're rewiring your brain for two things that's not going to serve you to win every single day. Number one, it's wiring it for distraction. So you're going through, and it's actually wiring it for fatigue. So one of the challenges is if you can't focus because you're tired, One of the reasons why is you're getting super stimulated by going on your phone for things that don't really matter, that's not giving you nourishment or education or empowerment or some kind of inspiration. And so it's a waste of resources, right? And you suffer, all of us suffer from what they call decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is basically saying this, that you can only make a finite amount of decisions, good decisions a day. After that, you can't. I mean, you're limited to a certain amount of good decisions. And after you're spent, you're spent. You could be at dinner and you could be looking at a menu and you can't, have you ever been like this? And you don't even know what to order. You're like, I can't decide. You decide for us. Just order something for the table, right? Because you're spent. And one of the resources people do in terms of put their resources to activities that spends their energy and their focus is this thing called their smart device. So they get super stimulated with dopamine fixes, and they waste a lot of their energy on that activity. So we want to be able to prevent that. So don't touch your phone, because number one, it is rewiring your brain for distraction. Number two, it's rewiring your brain to be reactive. Meaning that if you're looking at your emails and you're looking at your texts and you see all these people that need something from you, the fires that you need to fight, you're literally programming your minds first thing in the morning when you're most impressionable to be reactive. And you can't have an incredible life if you're just reacting to everything, as opposed to being proactive about it and setting your vision, your intention for the day, and going forward with clear purpose and clear outcome. So I recommend you don't touch your phone first thing in the morning. The second thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to digital distraction, what you need to do is you need to stop multitasking. You need to stop multitasking. And I know, just like saying don't touch your phone, this is going to be a problem for some of you who are watching this, but as your brain coach, your quick brain coach, you don't want me just telling you what you want to hear. You want me to tell you new things that you are doing so that you have to stop doing and then start doing. All right. So stop checking your phone first thing in the morning. Instead, make a list of the things that you want to accomplish, right? The 3 things, this is your takeaway, the 3 things that you want to accomplish personally and the 3 things that you want to accomplish professionally that day, and focus on those 6 things. The other thing I want to ask you to do is stop multitasking. And what I mean by that, it's a lie. People say that they think that they're multitasking, right? They're doing 2 cognitive mental activities at once. I'm not talking about walking down the street and being on the phone talking to somebody. You could do a physical activity and a mental activity. I'm talking about 2 mental activities. And so if you feel like you're at your office or you're at school and you're trying to study and you go from this to this to this, you're actually losing ground. There's no such thing as multitasking. It's a myth. What a more accurate description is, it's called task switching. Task switching. And every single time you switch over to something, what happens is you actually lose ground. It takes anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes to regain your focus, right? This is a class, a master class on the power of focus. And so every time you switch this one thing to another, you lose your focus. It takes 5 to 20 minutes to regain your focus and your flow. You know, your flow states in terms of the state you're in when you're in the zone. And so that's what happens when you multitask. So this is what happens. You waste energy, you waste time, and you're more prone to mistakes when you do that. So you want to avoid multitasking. And so what I would recommend is to have these self-control apps. Have you seen some of these? For those of you who have trouble doing this, there's self-control apps like Freedom, or there's an app called Focus Me, and it keeps you from going onto the things like social media or Facebook, you know, or websites that are going to distract you. And it only allows you to open up websites that's going to further your work that you program it for. So that would be an easy way just to focus on your attention on one thing at a time, right? So you want to be able to focus on one clear direction, check it off, move to the next thing. After digital distraction, right? So this is enemy number 1. And wait till you see the enemy number 3, because and I'm going to give you a power tip for every single one of these. The second enemy in modern day society, besides digital distraction, is digital overload. And this is not something, this is brand new. This is something that's crept in because the world is happening so fast, right? There's so much information, so little time. Don't you feel like you're drowning in information? Like you're drowning information from all these different directions and you can't keep up. You're drowning but you're starving for practical wisdom. Right? And that's what we do at Quick Learning. We get rid of the fluff and we give you the exact thing that you need to do based on neuroscience, based on how your brain works. So you don't have to work any harder than you have to. So you get the productivity and the performance and the profit, right? Because a big part of this is, a lot of you, when we ask what's your big pain or what's the thing that you want to make better, is you want to make more money. If you want to make more money, you want greater income so you can have greater impact, The thing you need to do is focus, right? And if there's one skill to master in the 21st century, it's your ability to focus better. It's your ability to read faster, to be able to remember more, to accelerate your learning so you can accelerate your earning. It is the biggest needle mover for you. And so here, the other obstacle is this. You're swimming in a sea of information. So how do you get to the next level? What we're asking people to do is if you're suffering from, like, you feel like you're taking a sip of water out of a fire hose, there's so much information. If you go out there, how many of you do this? You go on Amazon, you buy a bunch of books, it arrives, you look at it like, that's kind of cool, you take a picture for Instagram, oh, I'm reading this, but you're not really reading it, right? You start it, you stop it, you kind of pick it up there, maybe have this token book, you know, near your bed that you've been reading for like 2 or 3 months, right? You put it back on the shelf, and it becomes shelf help, and it doesn't become self-help, what it's intended to be. And I think the ability to read faster is one of the most important skills to master in the 21st century. Everybody should be reading 300% faster than most people are already. And if you could read something in 15 minutes or 20 minutes that normally takes an hour, you have such an advantage in your life. And so this digital overload, the amount of information doubling like this, literally it's going like this, the amount of information, but how we learn it, has that changed? How we remember it? No, it's all the same, right? And so that's the challenge. This gap creates something called stress and anxiety, and that's what we want to be able to save you from. So a couple things on how to get the most out of this. You know I teach this method called FAST, right? I've said it before. It's F-A-S-T. So I want you to remember this, right? This is something that's what's going to help you to be able to learn and overcome the digital overload and the digital overwhelm, and they call it digital fatigue syndrome. Right? All the information is making us fatigued, and when you're fatigued, you don't have focus. And even when I'm wearing this shirt here, if you're watching this, you know, this is your left brain and your right brain. Your left brain's logical and linear and sounds. Your right brain is your creative brain, it's your emotional brain, right? It's the storehouse of where you visualize things, you experience things. So the reason why a lot of these things work, what we're teaching in our programs, is because it's not left brain or right brain, but it's more whole brain or more whole self learning. Because one of your biggest challenges, I can tell you, is this, is you're trying to hack it and get a tip here, a tip here, a tip here, and that's great. And it's great that you tune in for this web class, right, which is available to you. But what we want you to do, and there's information on this page if you'd like to join us, is to be able to join a system. Because there's a difference between getting these quick brain hacks, which are little tips that help you in these ways that can make a difference in your life, and there's a difference between a tip and a training and a system, a clear step-by-step system where you have accountability, where you're being monitored in terms of you'll be able to post your progress, get help from a community of 150 countries of people going through it. And that's what we're doing right now with the offer that we have for this quick learning special bundle, if you see this on the page. I'm going to mention it to you because one of my passions is helping people get to the next level, and it's hard to do it maybe in half an hour. But if you'd like to go deeper, just go to quicklearning.com/special-bundle, and maybe there's a link on this page that could help you. But we're opening enrollment right now, and it's the best invitation that we've ever offered in terms of the lowest investment of your energy and your finances for it to be able to have lifetime access to this. So again, and if you're watching this also, and if there happens to be some lags in the video, I appreciate your patience and your refresh and everything, because we have a lot of people who are watching this also as well. So thank you, and I promise it'll be worth it. So FAST. This is how you learn things faster. If you want to learn any subject or any skill faster, if you want to overcome digital overload and digital overwhelm, I want you to do this. I want you to do this during this web class that we have together also as well. The F stands for forget. I want you to forget what's going on in the situation outside of what you're learning. So if you want better focus, you have to temporarily forget about what's going on in the environment or outside of you so you can put your 100% focus on what you're doing, whether it's a meeting, whether it's study, whether it's learning like what we're doing right now. Temporarily set it aside if it's not urgent and important. If you want, keep a piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper by your desk or wherever you happen to be, and just write the things down, or have a voice recorder. And so if something comes to your mind that's important, just write it down. Or if you're one of our quick recall students, you have dozens of ways to remember these things. So you can just remember it, that's there, and you don't have to put your attention to it. So I would say forget about what's going on in the situation. I would say the A stands for active. If you want to get more out of this web class right now, be active. I mean, sit the way you'd be sitting if you were more active. Ask questions the way you'd be wanting to be in terms of your curiosity. that we be doing. Take notes. Active note taking is something that we teach in one of our programs. We go deep into different ways of taking notes because everyone knows there's a learning curve, but there's also what? A forgetting curve, right? And so they say within 48 hours, 80% of stuff you learn can be completely gone. 80% of what you learn can be completely gone after just 2 days, and that's the big challenge. And so what I would say is be active and take notes because that's going to keep you from losing that information. The S is this. The S is you want to control your state. Your state is your feelings, it's your mood, it's your emotions, and here's the thing when it comes to your memory, right? Everyone wants to know, Jim, like how do you improve your memory? Information combined with emotion becomes a long-term memory. Information combined with emotion becomes a long-term memory. And you know this because things that are very emotional you tend to remember. So here's the reason why you want to control your state, how you feel. Because if you are bored and your emotion level is 0, 0 times anything is what? It's 0, and that's a big problem. And so who's in control of how you feel? You are, right? So you want to be able to say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how do I feel right now? Maybe I feel like a 5. Well, how do I get it to a 7? How do I get it to an 8 or a 9? Maybe I just need to splash water on my face. Maybe I need to do some jumping jacks, right? Maybe I have to put a big smile on my face because information combined with that emotional state is going to code that memory. It's in the encoding process. Memory has 3 stages. The first part is encoding, so the emotion makes a big deal, right? And then finally, the T in FAST stands for teach. So if you want to get the most out of this, what you're learning right now, teach it to somebody else. Learn with the intention of teaching it to somebody else. That's why I said share this web class with other people, because by doing that, you get to be in a position of a coach for them, or you're one of them where you're playing it forward, you're paying it forward to somebody else, and you could create an accountability. Like maybe you have a focus buddy and they help keep you on track. And somebody to say, Jim, I have this goal, because we talk about goal setting and the difference between goal setting and goal getting. The difference between it, a big part is clarity, because you can't hit a target that you can't see. It requires focus, right? But you could have it in your head here, but if it's an arrow, like a bow and arrow, you can have your target up here, but if you're not really pulling it back, usually what's missing is the second H, which is your heart. Head, heart, hands, right? And so your heart is the energy, or it's the energy that's going into this pullback motion that's going to shoot the arrow to hit your target, because your target could be far away, right, in terms of what your goal is. What's your target? Like think about what you want to focus on in terms of your body, in terms of your health, in terms of your relationship, in terms of your career. You have a focal point. You have its bow and arrow, so you have the focal point in your mind because you can't hit a target you can't see, but you pull it back. The emotion is what's going to get connected to how far you pull that arrow back. And and so when you let go, it'll go further, right? And so that's the emotional part. So that's going back to state and teachability for somebody else. So that's what I would encourage you to do, to overcome overload and overwhelm. Be an accelerated learner, practice FAST. Another way of doing it also is joining this special. And you could, if it's not there on the page, just type it in. It's quicklearning.com/special-bundle. And this is a one-time offer that we're having as a thank you for joining this web class. This is where we're going to overcome the 3 things together, literally a system for each of these 3 things. So it'll help you, for those of you who suffer from information overload and overwhelm. We have a speed reading program that is second to none. If you've ever thought about or been on the fence of like, Jim, I'd really like to do this now. I like, some of your hacks on using your finger while you read and boosting 25, 50%. But I'm seeing all these testimonials in your social media. People are reading 3, 4, 5 times faster, reading a book a week or a book a day. That's the bundle. And so you get that. We're also offering our memory program. And speaking of memory program, here it is. Fair enough. This is the 3rd villain. This is the 3rd villain that's getting in your way right now. The 3rd villain that's keeping you from what you need in your life more, like in terms of a greater focus, is this thing called digital dementia. So number 1, what was it? Say it out loud. And do this with me, because this is the active part, because I know what these things are, but do you remember what they are, right? So digital distraction is the first one. How do you have focus? And we have a program called Quick Thinking that is the ultimate brain in a box. It is the ultimate, it's an assessment program that teaches you, are you left brain, right brain? What's your multiple intelligence? How do you and your kids and your family prefer to best learn? And then strategies on how to maximize those different areas. So you can learn any subject or skill faster. So you can make really good decisions. So you can solve problems. So you can be more creative. So you can be more focused. So for that program, we have the Quick Thinking. But going back to memory, this is the digital dementia. And this is the villain, right? This is the villain that's taking away from your life force, because when you're outsourcing your brain to your smart devices, like think about how many How many numbers did you know growing up? Phone numbers did you just know growing up? A lot, right? All of them. All of them. And so how many phone numbers do you know right now? Like 5, 4, even less than that? And you're like, Jim, I don't want to memorize all those phone numbers. Neither do I. I don't want to memorize hundreds of phone numbers, but we've lost the capacity and the ability to do so. And if I say that your focus is like a muscle, so is your memory. If you want to improve your focus, improve your memory, because they go hand in hand. Because there is no focus, there is no learning without remembering something. All right, and so what we're going to do here is this. This is like the exercise in how to build your memory. The reason why we're struggling right now is because our smart devices, if we're outsourcing our memory to our smart devices, our memory and our focus is like a muscle, and it's not getting exercised, right? And so our phones are telling us where to go, when to turn, right? Doing simple math for us, keeping all our appointments, our to-do lists, all that, so our memory's getting weak. And they call this phenomenon digital distraction. So how do you overcome digital distraction? I'll give you a couple of tips on how to be able to do that. First of all, digital distraction, digital dementia, and digital overload all go hand in hand. That's why I'm using them interchangeably. One of the best ways of overcoming digital dementia when you're studying, for example, you can make it extremely practical. Some of you are preparing for a meeting and you're just going in there, you're not preparing for a couple weeks, and then you're spending like 3 or 4 or 5 hours studying and you're cramming. Or if you're in school, or you remember this in school, if you have children, in high school or above, you need to join us for this bundle, because it is the most it's what I wish I would have had back in high school and college, the ability to learn faster, the ability to study better. If you're cramming for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, the problem is you need to take breaks. And I'm encouraging you, because one of the biggest mistakes people make is they study and prepare too long for too long of a period of time without taking breaks. And we know it's better to study in chunks. We know it's better to study in chunks because your attention and your retention, it diminishes after about 30 to 45 minutes. After 30 to 45 minutes, your attention starts to go down. And so how do you overcome this issue? Well, there's a time management technique called the Pomodoro technique, which is basically saying that every 30 to 45 minutes, you need to take a break. So take your phone, set an alarm for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and do focus work. Remember, in the age of digital distraction, you're gonna be focused on one thing to get one thing done, and you just keep on working until the timer goes off. And when the timer goes off, take 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes for yourself, and then just take a break. And what I would recommend is do 3 things. Move. Like I recommend everyone's gets a standing desk, right? Because they say sitting is the new smoking. And so being sedentary is not good, because as your body moves, your brain groups. Number 2, during your break, super hydrate, right? So you want to get water, because your brain is only 2% of your body mass, but it requires 20% or 25% of all the nutrients, hydration. And then finally, the third thing is oxygen. It requires oxygen, so breathe. We teach in our courses lots of different breathing methods, alpha breathing, for instance, to be able to get in that relaxed state of awareness where information just flows in and you just absorb it that quickly. And that's extremely powerful. The other reason why you take a break every 30 to 45 minutes is this. If you study here, let's say this is your comprehension, your retention here, and you study for 1 hour, and 2 hours, and 3 hours, and 4 hours, and this is your 5th hour, and you're studying, you're not taking a break, what happens is you're remembering. This is something called primacy and recency, and there's these memory principles that we teach in our course, saying that you tend to remember stuff in the beginning, you tend to remember stuff at the end. So if you go to a party, you meet 20 strangers, you remember the ones in the beginning, and you remember ones at the end. And if I give you a list of 30 things to buy at the grocery store, you'll remember things in the beginning and the things at the end. So it's primacy first, and recency more recent or last. So if you're studying for, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, primacy says you remember stuff at the beginning, and then recency says you remember at the end, and then what happens in the middle? There's this big dip, and you lose this information. By taking a break, let's say every hour, what you're doing is you're creating more primacy and recencies, right? More beginnings and ends, and you get to pick up a lot of this information. Very simple trick, but that's why slowing down, taking a break, 2, 3, 4, I'm not talking about an hour break, but like a 5-minute break, allows you to reset, create new, fill your body full of nutrients that you need, snacks or what have you, and then create more primacy and more recency, okay? So I want to just review this. really quickly because I'm going to give you a very important invite as a thank you for joining us for this web class. I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I would love, is there one thing that you got out of this that makes a big difference? Just one thing? Let's go through what I call a quick review, and then I'm going to give you this invitation. We talked about focus is power, right? And that making a little slight shift in your focus, a little bit, might not seem like a lot, but over time, your life is completely different. Whether this is your health, or your relationships, or your business, or your finances, and your income. A big focus of all our programs, when we're talking about focus, for our reading program, our memory program, our thinking program, is on productivity and profit. Because we found, after doing this for 25 years, that that's what people want the most. Jim, how do I learn more so I can earn more, right? How do I use my memory to make money? How do I have better focus to affect my finances? Because every single time you lose focus, single time you get overloaded with stuff to read, every single time that you forget something, I believe I forgot are the two most costly words in business. And that's why we're offering today, as a thank you for joining us during this web class, this special bundle, where you get our reading and memory class together. Basically, you're getting one at half off, and you're getting the other one for free. And so it's something we've never ever done before. The only other program that we have is our thinking program. And our thinking program, that's an optional. If you want to add that in it, you can get that as a severe discount also as well. And that's going to help you with when we talk about digital dementia is solved by Quick Recall, which is our memory program. Digital overload is solved by our reading program, our quick reading program, because you could read 3 or 4 times faster. And then the other one that we're talking about is when we're talking about digital distraction is our quick thinking program. Our quick thinking is going to eliminate all the distractions that you have so you can focus, so you have clear thoughts, so you can make good decisions, so you can solve problems, because you need focus to make good decisions, don't you? You need good focus to be able to be creative. You need good focus to be able to also solve problems, and that's what these programs are all about. So you can make big life changes where we get all these testimonials from people who are making more money, they're earning more money, but they also have a higher quality of life. So we know that wherever you are, this is the track that you're on right now, right? And so this is where your health is going to be, and your relationships, everything. I'm just saying, if this is where you want to be, what'll get you there is a system. And I love brain hacks again, because that's what we do. We offer very quick brain hacks in our social media and everything else. But if you're looking for a system, something to take you step by step, where I can hold your hand and get you to the place where you need to go, that's what this offer is. So here, we talked about the magnifying glass, and you have all this power. You have more power inside of you. You are faster and smarter than you think. This magnifying glass goes to this bright point, and what do we call smart people? We call them bright. But maybe they're not smarter. Maybe they're just sharper and more focused, and that's the goal. After that, we talked about the 3 villains, digital distraction, right? This is the big villain, digital distraction. We can't harness our focus in any one place. So what do you do to be able to harness your focus better? And what we talked about is get rid of the enemy first. If your phone is incredibly convenient, but it's crippling you in some way, so put it on airplane mode. Don't try not to touch it for the first hour a day when you're most impressionable, because it's training you for reactivity, it's training you for distraction. It's literally rewiring your brain. And if you're easily distracted also, besides that, then there's apps out there that can really help you. And we talked about self-control apps like Freedom, self-control apps like Focus Me, that eliminates the areas where you are where you should not be spending your time, your focus. We talked about the second villain, which is something called digital overload. Digital overload, there's so much information. They say the president of Google said that the amount of information from the dawn of humanity to the year 2003, that amount of information, think about it, that's a lot of information. That amount of information now is created every 2 days online. So we're drowning in information, but we're starving for practical wisdom. And so how do you overcome that? We talked about the FAST method, right? Forget about what's going on, so you could be there. Also, be active, so you could be learning, because learning is not a spectator sport. We talked about controlling your state, and because every single time you up your state, you'll learn more and faster, be able to catch up to this overload. And finally, learn with the intention of teaching somebody else. Learn with the intention of teaching somebody else, because you'll learn it twice as good. Because when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. And finally, the third villain. By the way, our quick reading program is the fastest way to accelerate and to get rid of this demon called digital overload. And finally, the third obstacle or the big villain out there is this thing called digital dementia. It's where we're relying on our smart devices, our GPS, all these things, and our brain's not getting the exercise it needs, and our memory is faltering. And I believe if you're forgetting names, if you're forgetting conversations, if you feel like senior moments are coming a little bit early, if you feel absent-minded, I feel like that's a big part of that, according to research about digital dementia, is it's coming from our smart devices, that it's convenient for us, but it's also crippling us because we're not getting the workout that we need from it. And one of the things that you could be able to do in order to stave off digital dementia is when you're studying, take breaks every 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, to be able to replenish yourself and be able to do that in very powerful ways. It takes advantage of primacy and recency. More breaks creates more beginnings and more ends, and you're more likely to remember the things that are there. So if you'd like to go deep with this, I want to thank you, first of all, for watching this web class. If you're still hearing my voice right now and you're with me, I applaud you, because your time and your focus are the two things you can't get back, because you could always make more money. Because money replenishes itself, right? If you have a job, like every 2 weeks, you could get more money back, right? It just replenishes your account, but you can't do that with your time. And so you being here means everything to me because you're investing in yourself. And I feel like we're both on the same path of growth, because we want to grow more so we have more to be able to give to other people. And so I find that there are two types of people in the world. If you're watching this, you might be one of these people. You're either struggling right now, you have good intentions, you're struggling right now and things aren't exactly where they need to be in your life, and you tried lots of different things. You read the books, you go to the seminars, and you wonder why you keep on bumping up against this wall where you're not cutting a break. My belief is that if you're still watching this, that there's a reason. That maybe it's not coincidence, maybe you're watching this, because my goal would be that you got some value out of this. You walked away with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 different takeaways, and you can write them down on the page. Your big takeaways, your big ahas, post on social media, tag me in it also, share with other people your takeaways. And maybe you're at the point where you want something to shift. And I'm telling you, the biggest lever in there is understanding how your brain works. Because if you could have a quicker brain, if you could learn faster, you could have the things that you want most in life, because you have this superpower. And it is the most underutilized superpower because we weren't taught this back in school. And we weren't taught how to optimize ourselves, to live the fullest version of ourselves. And we live in a world where you're not paid for your brute strength, you're paid for your brain strength. You're not paid for your muscle power, you're paid completely for your mind power. But when's the last time you invested on how to use your mind power? When's the last time you invested some of your time and energy or replenishable income into something that's going to pay you dividends hugely in the future, right? Because if you can learn twice as fast, you can earn faster also as well. The other thing is this. The reason why we offer these programs is to break old habits. If you went through any of my training on habit formation and how to break a habit, if you're one of our students already, you know that the key is not just with tips, but it's proper training, accountability, ongoing support. And so when people join us during the special bundle, it's just quicklearning.com/special-bundle for today. Not only are you going to get support with us for the program. So the program, for those of you who are asking, is this. The program is it's a 3-month program. You get 6 weeks of reading training and 6 weeks of memory training. I advise you go through the reading program first, because a lot of people ask that. Which one do I go through them? That's so generous, Jim. You're giving us both programs for the price of half of just one of them. Which one do you start first? I would start with the memory program, because that's my personal bias, because I feel like there's no learning without memory. Fix your memory first. Fix your forgetfulness first. And then after those 6 weeks, it's just one module a week. There's a Q&A audio also, so it's me on video for 60 minutes. Teaching you all this content and such. And then it's not so much an audio, it's actually, we have transcribed, we do question and answers in the comments section. And so what I want you to do is you go through the memory program and you supercharge your memory, and then go through the reading program, 6 weeks of reading. So it's about 12 weeks, which equates to 3 months. It's really affordable, because what we did, we just broke it down per month. It's just less than $200 a month. So for $197, I believe, a month, which is like less than $7 a day, which is less than practically, it's like what you're spending at your local coffee shop. You get to supercharge your brain, and I get to spend 3 months with you. And then as a bonus, as a thank you for joining the program right now, is we're going to give you lifetime access to it. That's right, lifetime access to this program and to its updates. So when we update the program, you'll also get access to that also as well. Lifetime access. So even if you can't go through this program today or tomorrow or even over the summer, if you can't do it for 1 day, 1 month, 1 year from now, or 10 years from now, you still have access to this program. So I hope you enjoy that. Lifetime access, and all the comment sections where we do the Q&A in there also as well. It's powerful. So you go through the memory program and then the reading program. Or if you like to do a one payment, which most people do, you get to save a little bit also on that as well. So you could join us. Basically, it's half the price of one of the programs. You get both of the programs. But here's the gift I wanted to give you that I mentioned in the beginning, an invitation. I love the online programs. They're tremendous. I mean, we have students in 150 countries and testimonials in all these different languages of people that have greater levels of income, greater levels of impact, greater levels of influence, and obviously greater levels of intelligence, right, and focus. My goal for you is to get the most out of it, and I want to meet you personally. So what we're going to do is in February of 2018, we are going to spend 2 days together. For anyone who joins us now during this program, and our tickets to an event, which, and our events are attended by, we've had sitting in the audience, Quincy Jones. We've had the founder of WordPress in our audience. We've had Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements. I mean, it is a spectacular group of individuals, top athletes and artists and authors and entertainers and actors in the audience, entrepreneurs, some of the best. That event is in February of 2018 in Los Angeles. And all the information is going to be on the link that's there, quickllearning.com/special-bundle. It's $1,000 minimum to get into that event. And if tickets are even available, I will gift you a ticket to that event because I want to meet you personally. As a thank you for joining our special bundle where you get our reading program and our memory program for half the price it would cost for just one of those programs, where you get lifetime access to that program, I'm also going to give you a ticket to that event because I really want this to be a no-brainer, a literal no-brainer for you. If you choose to join our Quick Thinking program, which is our program that helps digital distraction so you have better focus, and when you learn, when you read, when you solve problems and decision, you can also have that option also as a way. You can add that to your cart also as well during this special offer. So that is the invitation. I want to thank you so much for listening to this. There was a question on age. I was starting in high school. So yes, you get access for you and your family. So you can share it with your spouse, your significant other, your children. And so you could all do it together. I would highly recommend it because that's a no-brainer. Other question we get about this, about lifetime access is can I look at it some time ago? Can I rewatch these programs over and over again? Of course. So let's say you go from 200 words a minute to 600 words a minute. You're reading something in 20 minutes. Like imagine reading a book every single day. It's an incredible feeling to be able to do that. How much more wisdom that you have. If you want to be able to stop there, you can stop there and you can pick it up a year from now and go from 600 to 800, right? So it's yours to be able to do that. People ask, the other question people ask a lot, these online programs, can I watch it on my digital devices? Can I watch it on my phone, on my iPad, or my computers? All those different platforms, you have access to it. And so it's really convenient because it's like mobile learning, right? You can take it on the go, and we want to be as convenient for you as possible. So these are these self-paced programs that you go through, and really what it is, it's the best of what I know in 25 years. These are the programs I wish I would have had. But you don't have to spend 25 years of research, 25 years of traveling the world, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. You could join us for this. And when you do today, you also get a bonus ticket to the event. One of the questions is, if I can't make it, what happens? If you can't make it to this event, I'll make sure you get digital access. How about that? Fair? Digital access to the entire the event also as well if you can't make it live to it. And so this is really what it's about. If you want to break old habits, if what you're doing right now is not working and you want to make a big shift, I invite you to join us for this special bundle. And it's really our one-time way of saying thank you for being part of our community, as a thank you for showing up the way that you do. The other type of person I mentioned, that person who's struggling and suffering and needs something brand new to change it. The other person is someone who's already successful. Like maybe you're watching this because you already hit a lot of your goals and you want to take things to the next level and you're not sure what that would be. It would be the next level of learning for you. There's always another level of learning for you to be able to up-level your learning, to upgrade your brain, to upgrade your business. Are the things that you care about the most. And I don't just mean financial treasure. That's obvious, right? The faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. But I mean just all the treasures of your life, your health, relationships, the things that you hold most dear. Remember that with the money, you can always make back, right? If you're not happy, 30 days, try book programs for 30 days. And if you're not completely blown away by it, you can get your money back. That's not the issue. It's your time and your attention, right? And that's what this program will give you. Just doubling your reading speed will save most of you 2 hours a day. Even if you save just 1 hour a day though, 1 hour a day over the course of a year, how many hours is that? 365 hours. How many 40-hour work weeks is that? 9. 9 40-hour work weeks you get back. 2 months of productivity you get back, saving 1 hour a day. That is amazing, right? Because this will help you maybe even make time for yourself, doing something that you're already doing, just doing it more wiser. And so I encourage you to be able to join us. Information alone, remember this, I'm going to end with this. Knowledge is not power, it's only potential power. Knowledge alone, information alone is not going to change your business, it's not going to change your brain, it's not going to change your body, it's not going to change your bank account. Only action does that. And so if you're still watching this, I invite you to take action and join this program, because it's not information, it's drills, it's exercises, it's accountability. I mean, it's step-by-step technique where our team is there hand-holding you so you're not alone, as well as 100 people from 150 different countries supporting each other in a way where just the most incredible mind share. All right, so thank you so much for watching this. Click on the information down below. There's absolutely no risk. I look forward to seeing you inside, because that's really what it's about, right? It's about stepping up, making a shift. A little shift to make a big difference in your life is everything. And this is really what it comes down to. Yes, by going through these programs, whether you use what you learned here or not, if you want to go forward into something else, yes, you'll be able to remember facts and figures and formulas and foreign languages, all that. But what I really want you to learn, to remember, to read in the world, if you will, to focus on the world, is your loved ones, right? Those are the ones that matter. That's why you want to be more efficient, so you can spend more time and have more resources for them, right? Because those are the things that you want to remember. My grandmother passed away of Alzheimer's, right? And so that's something that's very near and dear to my heart, is polishing off your memories. Besides love is you want to remember your life, because if your life is worth living, it's worth remembering. And so that's why it's so important to be able to keep your mental fitness. And if you feel like you're struggling or feeling like you're behind, it's not your fault. We live in this digital age, digital dementia, digital distraction. But you have a power inside of you that's so much greater than anything that's outside of you. You have power, you have genius, you have greatness inside of you. I always tell people that, you might have heard this quote before, we quote about this, that if you're an egg, right, you're this egg, the shell, if you will. If an egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. But if an egg is broken by an inside force, life begins. And all great things begin on the inside. And I'm saying no matter where you are financially, or who you know, or your level of education, all those external resources, that doesn't matter. What matters is your resourcefulness, your commitment, your motivation to be able to make a difference right now. So what can you do right now today? Whether it's joining our programs or not, what can you do right now to shift that so you have greater love, greater life there? And then the last one is greater learnings, because you want to remember your learnings. I think a lot of people repeat problems in their relationships, repeat problems in their business, repeat with their hiring, repeat problems with their health, with what they're eating, because they don't remember the lessons that they learned. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But it's not just insanity, it's a poor memory. So how can you turn on your memory? How can you turn on your reading? How can you turn on your focus? How can you turn on your ability to learn faster? I invite you to join the Quick Learning Tribe. Join our community where you're not alone, where we're not going to leave any brain behind, and we can do it together. So thank you for watching this so much, and hope to see you inside.
How many people are looking forward to some big transformation this next 2 days? Yeah, what we're talking about here, a lot of people will remember facts and languages and names, but I think one of the most important things is to remember our life. If you get a little bit better with your memory, your life gets exponentially better. But how many people feel like you're juggling in life a little bit? Now, there's certain movements that also put you into a great brain state. There's no magic pill, but there's definitely a magic process. I find that people who go to things, who show up, are a special breed of people. Just even in this room, we have a lot of power. So it's not going to just be me teaching you, it's going to be everybody here co-creating. Because we don't live in a world where it's just based on consumption. It's about creation. That's where you really learn. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Absolutely, just the most valuable time I've spent. It has been worth coming all the way from Toronto for this. Highly recommend him.
10, 11, very good, 12.
He doesn't have anything written, he speaks from heart, and he just relates to you as a human, and that just makes a big difference when you're coming to a conference. It's one-on-one connection.
How many people now have an appreciation more for learning than you did when you were back in school?